It's been an ongoing topic for many years throughout the NBA's existence, but especially because of a few recent players specifically, talks have been really heating up in basketball circles. Loyalty in the NBA. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Or is it somewhere in the middle? When it comes to this topic, it seems like there's no middle ground for the vast majority of people. You're either someone who loves all the team hopping and thinks it's good for the league, or you're someone who hates it and thinks it waters down the competitive nature of the sport. Many NBA legends have chimed in with their own perspective, including Michael Jordan, who was especially harsh on the quote lack of loyalty in the modern game. Although I certainly understand and can appreciate where Jordan is coming from, I think he's also ignoring several crucial details about why the league has changed throughout the decades. Oftentimes, it's the players who are most often criticized for their quote lack of loyalty. But the thing is, the league has been conditioning the players to be this way for quite some time now. The CBA stands for the Collective Bargaining Agreement. It's the umbrella contract that determines how revenue is split amongst the players and the owners, and it also determines the general rules and the terms of the player contracts. Back in the day, the CBA had much different rules, which confined players to one location for a significant amount of time. Back when Bill Russell played basketball, NBA free agency wasn't even a thing, which means that the team that drafted him essentially owned him forever, unless they wanted to trade him. When Magic Johnson was young and playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, he signed a 25-year, $25 million contract. That contract didn't expire until 2009, which was 13 years after he played his final game in the NBA, and the Lakers were in the process of winning their fourth ring since his retirement. When Michael Jordan was in his mid-20s, he signed an 8-year contract with the Chicago Bulls, securing his spot for the extended future. And when Kobe Bryant signed a new contract with the Lakers in 2004, it was a 7-year deal. In case you haven't noticed the trend, general NBA contracts have been getting shorter over time, due to changes with the new CBA rules. Roughly, over the last decade, the maximum length of a player's contract is a total of 5 years. Not only that, but usually in the first few years, there is a player option as well. Basically, for general managers in the modern NBA, there is absolutely no way to have long-term security with your superstar. At any point, your star player can demand a trade, and you must entertain that demand because he can always leave in the near future, and you will gain nothing in return. If Magic Johnson had ever demanded a trade, he would have been laughed out of the room by the Lakers management, since he had another 20+ years remaining on his contract. Under those terms, there was absolutely no pressure at all for them to meet his demands. He could cry, he could rage, and he could pout. At the end of the day, it wouldn't matter. If he wanted to get paid to play pro basketball, he was gonna have to do it in a Lakers jersey. Kobe is a player who's often referred to as loyal, since he played all 20 years of his career exclusively for the Lakers. But the thing is, at one point, the Mamba was absolutely sure he wanted to leave Los Angeles, as he had demanded a trade and was even looking at homes in Chicago with his wife. When Kobe demanded that trade from an underwhelming Lakers team, he still had another 4 years left on his contract, so management felt no immediate pressure to trade him at the time he requested it. They held on to a disgruntled Kobe long enough for them to acquire Pau Gasol, which then obviously changed his mind about leaving. If Kobe had a shorter contract or an approaching player option like most stars do today, then the Lakers wouldn't have had a choice but to trade him. Mark my words, if Kobe was playing under the same CBA as modern players, then he wouldn't have spent his entire career in a Lakers uniform. With modern players consistently having the opportunity to change teams throughout their career, this conditions them to always be looking to see if the grass is greener on the other side. This is a level of freedom that most players in the past didn't have, but trust me, if they did, you bet they would have utilized that freedom. This is one of the many reasons why I don't expect a player to remain faithful to a specific organization over a long period of time. If a player like Damian Lillard wants to leave Portland to give himself a shot at winning, then I won't fault him whatsoever. by all means, do it. What Michael Jordan failed to mention in his criticism of modern players is that in today's era, guys like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Chris Paul are constantly changing teams, looking for a better opportunity to win. Every year, super teams are formed with 3 or 4-headed monsters, which are ready to compete for a championship. The reality of this modern trend is that it puts an enormous amount of pressure on a guy like Lillard to do the same if he wants to compete. It's like the steroid era in baseball. If everyone else is doing it, then how do you expect a guy to compete if he isn't doing it as well? Again, this isn't completely the fault of the players, because it's what the rules allow today, and if you don't like that, well then the commissioner and the owners need to negotiate better when discussing a new CBA deal. Until that happens, players will naturally continue to take advantage of their new levels of freedom. Obviously, there's layers to this. There's a difference between an MVP caliber player joining a 73-9 team and a star player joining additional stars to give himself a chance to compete. One of these things I find honorable from a competitive standpoint, and the other I do not. I'm sure modern NBA superstars are not watching my videos, but if they were, this would be my advice to them. Do what you have to do to give yourself a shot at winning a championship. Obviously, don't just simply take the easiest road imaginable because you're afraid of facing a challenge and overcoming it. But if you need to make a change in order to give yourself an opportunity to succeed, then absolutely do it. To paraphrase the great author C.S. Lewis, if you're in a race and everyone is going in the wrong direction, the man who wins is not the man who's running the fastest, but it's the man who turns around and takes the correct path. Too many greats have become overlooked over time because they were never in the right situation to succeed. Guys like Dominique Wilkins, Sidney Moncrief, and Alex English gave championship-level efforts, yet their careers still ended without a ring and their legacies were affected for it. Loyalty is great, but that's if you're being loyal to the right thing. Sometimes in life, the best thing for you is to leave a certain relationship, a certain friendship, a certain job, a certain atmosphere, and even a certain basketball organization. Sometimes you have to make the change to give yourself a real opportunity to succeed. Don't believe me? Just ask Kevin Garnett how it worked out for him. So what do you guys think? What is your opinion on loyalty in the NBA? Should players look to be more or less loyal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.